Hi God, thanks for the shine. Okay, so here goes a new bit, right? We're gonna do a new bit right here. This one is gonna be well, we're processing information right now because Rosemary Spalding just dropped a fire notice, right? And these words are so powerful. They're just so powerful. And then what we want to do is that we want to investigate the words within this notice because it shows maladministration. Seriously, it shows maladministration. So I'm going to have the link for this notice in the description box, so then that way, you know, if you hear these words, right? So if you're a man, if you're a woman, if you're one of the people and you hear these words, you're going to have a duty and an obligation to go into the description box and click that link and then go and read this notice and then sign it. So if you agree with the words that are in this notice, right, then you must sign it, man. That is so fun. Okay, so remember, we're going to do the grand jury bit. So we're going to investigate, which means we're just going to look. We're going to look at the words, right? Because, you know, just talking about maladministration, you know, that's a bad small master, right? And then, you know, normally when you have a maladministration, you're going to also have someone who's committed treason, right? You know, and then you're also going to have someone who's committed some form of war because they try to confuse us with the words, man. You know, so this is going to be a fun process, man, because, you know, I just want to see how this looks, you know, one read, and then like, because when I was reading this morning, you know, the words were just like, I can see it, right? You know, and I can see what was going on because, so the story is basically this, is that, you know, there were two people who were parents, right? And they have children, right? And then their children were going to a school, right? And then the school principal the school principal is the servant of we the people, right? You know, so then the school principal, which is the servant of the people, was acting all out of boundaries and stuff like that. And then they called another public servant, and then this other public servant called the police came, and then they caused some friction with the people. And then the people, the mother and then the father of the children, you know, the proper guardian of the children of God's property, then they had to go to court, and then there was a judge man up there, right? You know, so then they had to talk with the judge man. And then the judge man was going like blah, blah, blah. And then they ended up being put in a cage, I think. Right, they got put in a cage. It was just like, this thing is just great, you know, when you read it, right, but sad at the same time, because you're like, how did this happen? You know, why did this happen? And then this is why we're always trying to go and we're trying to assemble the people, right? Because we always wish for the people to become assembled, so then that way we don't have to go through this anymore, man. You know, like mothers and fathers, moms and dads, men and women, right? You know, especially if you have children, you don't have to go through this, man. I mean, you just have to know what your rights are, right? Which means you have to understand what the state's constitutions are, which means then you have to associate with the appropriate people who can show you what's up, man. I mean, that's just the game now, man. It's just like, it's all about who you unite with, man. You know, so let me go ahead and read this, man, because this is going to be fun, because I love hearing the word and seeing the word, right? All right, here we go. Notice of maladministration and violation of rights. Notice to agent is notice to principal, and notice to principal is notice to agent. We, the people, as found in the Arizona Constitution, Article 2, Section 2, come that you may give due care and rectify wrongs. Seriously. Arizona Constitution, Article 2, Section 2, political power, purpose of government. All political power is inherent in the people, fact, and government derive their just powers from the consent of the governed and established to protect and maintain individual rights. Please note, I remind you of the fundamental principles of the supreme law of the land that secures my individual rights. That's a fact. Okay. Arizona Constitution, Article 2, Section 1, Fundamental Principles, Recurrence 2. A frequent recurrence to fundamental principles is essential to the security of individual rights and the perpetuity of free government. That's a fact, right? Please take notice that it is the responsibility of all elected, appointed, or employed government servants to follow and not violate the United States Constitution, the Arizona Constitution, and the Arizona state statutes. Fact, okay. Any deviation from those standards is a violation of my personal rights. No elected, appointed, or employed government servants, agents of the people, may violate the Constitution or my liberty of conscience. Seriously, man, you can't do any of that stuff. All right, let's keep it going. Arizona Constitution, Article 2, Section 1-2 for 12. Liberty, conscience, religious freedom. The liberty of conscience, right, what you think, right, secured by the provisions of this Constitution, shall not be construed as to excuse acts of licentiousness or justify practices inconsistent with the peace and safety of the state. That's a fact. No religious qualification shall be required for any public office or employment, nor shall any person be incompetent as a witness or juror in consequence of his opinions on matters of religion, nor be questioned touching his religious belief in any court of justice to affect the weight of his testimony. Yeah, you can't. It doesn't matter what people believe and what their religion is, right? You know, you can't mess with that, man. You cannot mess with what another person believes in their mind and in their heart, man. We made those rules simple, okay? Let's keep it going. Black's Law, 5th edition, liberty. 1. Freedom from arbitrary or undue external restraint. You can't restrain, especially by government. 2. A right, privilege, or immunity enjoyed by prescription or by grant. The absence of a legal duty imposed on a person. The absence of, right? You can't put anything on anyone, man. They're just free, right? Okay, let's do another one. Black's Law, 5th edition, religious liberty, right? You know, let's keep it going. Freedom as guaranteed by the First Amendment to express what? Without external control over the, to express without external control other than one's own conscience, any or no system of religious opinion, and to engage in or refrain from any form of religious observance or public or private religious worship, as long as it is consistent with the peace and order of the society. Fact, right? So as long as you don't harm man, woman, child, you're free to think what you want to think, man. It's really easy. You know, God made the rules easy for us, okay? Remember, it's all traces back to love. Okay, let's keep it going. Please note that the definition of liberty states freedom from arbitrary or undue external restraints, especially by a government. No government official, agent, or employee may arbitrarily determine that I do or do not hold sincere religious beliefs. Repeat. No government official, agent, or employee may arbitrarily determine that I do or do not hold sincere religious beliefs, and no one of those same persons may arbitrarily determine how, when, or where those sincerely held beliefs will be expressed. Fact, man. Right. My United States First Amendment constitutional rights, as well as my rights stated in the Arizona Constitution, Article 2, Section 1-2 for 12, right, have been trampled by the principal name, right, you know, by the Sahuarita, I can't even say that name, by the police and by the municipal court, by the judge, right, and by the prosecutor. Man, okay, you know, so let's reread that one, right? You know, my United States First Amendment constitutional rights, as well as my rights stated in the Arizona Constitution, Article 2, Section 1-2, have been trampled by the principal, Teresa Hill, by the Suarjita Police, by the Suarjita Municipal Court, Judge Maria Alvarez, and Suarjita Town Prosecutor, Rona Creamer. Ooh, those are public servants. All right, public servants, you guys have gone beyond your jurisdiction. This is going to be fun. Right, please note that licentious behaviors of these government agents acting without regard to law, ethics, or constitutional rights of others is inconsistent with the peace and safety of the state. Right, they have acted in a licentious and disruptive manner related to my complaints and assertions. Right, remember that, man. You can't be acting like that. All right, please note that all provisions of the Arizona State Constitution are mandatory, right, and are not to be overlooked or ignored as if they did not exist, as has occurred in the complaints and assertions herein indicated, right? You know, so you're going to see some stuff, man. Okay, let's keep it going. Arizona Constitution, Article 2, Section 32, Constitutional Provisions, mandatory. Remember that, it's mandatory. You see, M-A-N, you got that man, you got that hand, you better think, right? The provisions of this Constitution are mandatory unless by expressed words that are declared to be otherwise. Express, right? Maxim of law, 7F. What is done without consideration or reflection upon better consideration, we should revoke or undo. Fact, okay? Please note the municipal constitution provisions which have been violated. Ooh, we're going to see what they violated. Arizona Constitution, Article 2, Section 4, due process of law. Not again, another due process, man. You guys are always breaking the due process. Why? I mean, you guys can't read, right? You know, like you know, the public servants, you guys need to go back to school. Seriously, you need to go talk to we the people and find out what your job is, man, because you guys can't read because you always are breaking due process, man. There's a process, right? You gotta follow the process, and if you don't follow the process, we're gonna get you every time for maladministration, man. I mean, you guys are your worst enemy. All right, let's keep it going. Arizona Constitution, Article 2, Section 4, due process of law. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Seriously, man. Black's Law, 6th edition, due process. Aside from all else, due process means fundamental fairness and substantial justice, right? And then we got a court, right? Embodied in the due process concept are the basic rights of a defendant in a criminal proceedings and the requisites of a fair trial. Fair trial by jury. These rights and requirements have been expanded by the Supreme Court decisions and including, remember, Supreme Court, that's another public servant. Timely notice of a hearing or a trial which informs the accused of the charges against him or her, the opportunity to confront accusers and to present evidence on one's own behalf before an impartial jury or judge. Fact, okay? The presumption of innocence under which guilt must be proven by legally obtained evidence and the verdict must be supported by the evidence presented. The right of an accused to be warned of constitutional rights at the earliest stage of the criminal process. Protection against self-incrimination, assistance of counsel at every critical stage of the criminal process, and the guarantee that an individual will not be tried more than once for the same offense. Double jeopardy. Okay, let's keep it going. This is fun, man. Rosemary Spalding, your words are always so fun. I love reading them. Please note that due process as required in the constitutions was absent from all actions taken by the police and the principal of the high school, Teresa Hill. Poor Teresa Hill. You didn't even follow the rules, man. You know, you're supposed to be a public servant. You're a principal of a public high school, you know, a public entity, and you're supposed to be a public servant, and here you are, acting outside of your boundaries, man. Bad, small master. Okay, let's keep it going. Instead of faithfully following the required public health code requirements, ARS 36-789, related to quarantine, Ms. Hill chose to arbitrarily determine who might attend school and receive an in-school education and who had to be out of school receiving only inadequate online education. You get to make that decision? I don't think so. Right. This was done in the name of contact tracing. Oh, trickery. I got it. Not even a lawful action by the public health department, and definitely not part of Ms. Hill's job description. Contact tracing is discriminatory, unlawful, and opposed to verifiable science. Fact, right? Healthy, symptomless children were arbitrarily sent home only because they had been in the proximity to a sick child with no proof that the healthy child was adversely affected. Oh my God, right? These public servants, man, they were just acting. This is just fun. Like, public servant didn't follow their job description. Then they made up some rule that they got from a deputy, right? You know, so delegated power was in, you know, getting some words from a deputy which has no power, and then they're following the words of the deputy, right? And then they're just messing things up, man. This is just fun, right? You know, wow, you know, this is going to be a good case, right? This is what precipitated our need to speak with the principal, who had not supplied proof of due process and quarantining related to our daughter. Here we go, man. So you put the daughter in quarantine based off of no evidence, no facts, no nothing, just your feeling because you got something from a deputy, right, who has no power. Bad, small master, right? We're going to have to put you in timeout. I see that right now. The pressing concern was for our child to receive her in-person education as a healthy child, right? We had sought help from many offices without success. I remember these times because you go talk to these people and then they would just keep saying that these are the orders. We gotta follow the orders. Oh, it's just like, oh my God, what is wrong with you people? Right? You guys gotta learn to read, man. Seriously, public servants, read, right? You know, the visit to the principal's office was intended to gain proof as to why our daughter was removed without due process. Only healthy children without verified vaccinations were removed from the school. We entered the school office with no other agenda than obtaining the information and having our daughter return to her class. Okay, that makes sense. There had been a previous precedent set of congenial meetings with the principal. Therefore, we expected, you guys met before. Okay, all right, what's up? You know, we expected that this would occur again. Instead, we were confronted with an increased police presence. What? Right, and a hostile reception. What? From the principal. Oh my God, I wonder why the principal had to get the police. Why did they have to call a public servant? So why did a public servant have to call another public servant to meet with one of the people who were the bosses of the public servant? I don't know. This doesn't make sense, man. You know, instead of acting as the public servant she was to be, she was adversarial and accusatory towards those she was to be helping. Seriously. The police were initially attempting to mediate, but then arrested us for the criminal trespass without warrant. Wow, hold on, man. Let me take a sip of coffee. This is morning time, too. Right, you know, so this is fun, because this is painting a very good picture, right? So the public servants were acting outside of their jurisdiction, right? You know, then they were treating those who they're supposed to be serving as something else, right? You know, so they're just messing up. They're being a bad small master. Here's evidence all throughout here. Like if you have this arrest record is evidence, you know, of maladministration, because there should be no reason why, you know, that this principal, you know, who has no authority over the child, because the child is the property of the mother and the father, the parents, the man and the woman, right? You know, so you can't administer someone else's property, right? You're just supposed to oversee the school, right? You're just supposed to make sure that the curriculum is followed, and that's it, man. You don't have any other power other than that, man. This is fun, okay? All right, let's keep it going. When the arrest occurred, we were not presented with a warrant and were not told the possible outcome of the arrest. We had been sitting quietly waiting to speak with the principal, which was our constitutional right to speak to a public servant, in fact, about our issue of concern. Right, there was not a disturbance. Okay, there was no problem. There was not a loud protest. There was no upset to the functioning of the office. All right, no problem, right? You know, we sat and quietly waited to speak to the principal, who refused to speak with us. Public servant, why are you doing this? When one of the people come to you, it is your duty and your obligation to speak to the people because you serve the people. Gotta remember that, man. So if you're in a public servant position, you have to serve the people. So if a man or a woman presents themselves to you and they say, hey, what's up, public servant? I'm here to talk to you about something. You better talk to them, man. I mean, you know how it is to work for a boss, right? You know, because all of you public servants have a boss, right? You have someone who's above you. Remember that. And the people are always on top of all public servants, right? You know, so you shouldn't be doing this to the people anymore. Like, you shouldn't be putting them and making them wait in the office, and you shouldn't be calling other public servants to mess with them and try to intimidate them because, you know, you're in fear of something. I don't know what, you know, because you're a public servant. The only reason why you got that job is because of the people. All right, let's keep it going. Maxims of law 64U. Every act is to be judged by the intention of the doer. Fact. Okay. Miller v. United States of America, U.S. Court of Appeals for the 5th Circuit, 230 F 2D 486 F 5th CIR, CIR 1956. Okay, execution of process and the performance of duty by constituted officers must not be thwarted, right? But these agents, servants of a government and a society whose existence and strengths come from these constitutional safeguards, are serving law when they respect, not override, these guarantees. Fact, right? The claim and exercise of a constitutional right cannot thus be converted into a crime. Freedom of speech, bear your arms, due process, right? You can't convert these things into crimes, man. Even our own servants, are letting you know that you cannot do this, man. This is what they call precedents, right? Emphasis added by highlight. Arizona Constitution, Article 2, Section 10, self-incrimination, double jeopardy. Okay. No person shall be compelled in any criminal case to give evidence against himself or be twice put in jeopardy for the same offense. You can't make them do that. Please note, during the court proceedings, my rights to freedom of speech were denigrated and used against me to incriminate me, violating Article 2, Section 10. See below. In addition, my testimony before the adversarial judge was taken and twisted by the prosecutor, oh no, another public servant, right, to become self-incriminating against my will and desire, right? My sincerely held religious beliefs concerning my body and the bodies of my children were not only challenged and disputed, but rejected as not sincerely held. Where did you get that power from, public servant, to do that? This thus violated my rights under Article 2, Section 12. See above. All right. Arizona Constitution, Article 2, Section 5. Right to petition and of assembly. Let's reread that. Arizona Constitution, Article 2, Section 5. Right to petition and of assembly. Right. The right of petition and of the people peaceably to assemble for the common good shall never be abridged, right? Can't stop it, right? Please note that the Swahita, right? That's hard to say for me. Municipal police were present when we arrived at the school. More public servants there, right? They had been called to protect and mediate for the principal on the incorrect assumption of an impending altercation, right? This same principal had previously congenially met with my spouse and I, indicating that our presence in the school office was not nor have ever been an immediate or impending threat. Oh my God, so you had to call the police because you're thinking that you're threatened by, a mother and a father? Wow, principal. Public servant, we gotta take you guys back to school. Please note that I, one of the people, have a right to peaceably assemble with whomever I choose to meet with in my private affairs. Fact, my spouse and I were accused during the court proceedings of meeting with terrorists and assembling with terrorists at the high school. What? What are you talking about? Contrary to accusations, the above-mentioned meeting was announced to aid parents who were needing help addressing their school boards about academics and student concerns. Oh, so you're calling an assembly of people terrorists. I see what you're trying to do there, Mr. Public Servant. You're trying to do, that's what we call war. When you try to confuse words, right, we call that war, we call that treason, we call that maladministration. And there's another example of it, right? Because all people are free by nature and all people can peaceably assemble. Fact, man. That's just what God said. Remember that. The accusation of participation in terrorism, if true, should have engendered a felony arrest. That's true. In fact, the unlawful warrantless arrest was classified as criminal trespass, though no criminal activity transpired. The arrest was unlawful. The ensuing trial was unlawful. The verdict was unlawful based on initial unlawful action by the police. No law, man. You guys are done. Okay. Arizona Constitution, Article 2, Section 6, freedom of speech and press. Oh my God, she's just smacking you guys all up and down with these. This is just power, right? Let's keep it going. Right? Rosemary, you're so fire. I just love reading your words. Every person may freely speak, write, and publish on all subjects, being responsible for the abuse of that right. Please note that though free speech is an inherent constitutional right of the people, my free speech was impinged I was charged with harassment only because I refused to leave the school without obtaining the desired information on how to ensure my child's continuing education as a healthy student. Fact, man, right? You know, the principal's claim that she had more important concerns than the education of my individual child is quite concerning. Her job description includes the education of all children, mine included. We were not given an opportunity by the principal to express our concerns about the lack of due process and the violation of our religious beliefs. We were never allowed to speak freely about any of these matters. Our rights to free speech were infringed in order to accommodate the principal of the school. Ooh, you guys are done, public servant. You guys are bad small masters. This is another example of a bad small master, man. Right? Arizona Constitution, Article 2, Section 11 for 11. Administration of justice. Justice in all cases shall be administered openly and without unnecessary delay. You can't delay it. Right? Black's Fifth Law Edition defines justice. 1. The fair treatment of people. Okay? Right. 2. The quality of being fair or reasonable. Okay? Right. 3. The legal system by which people and their causes are judged, especially the system used to punish people who have committed crimes. Okay? 4. The fair and proper administration of laws. Okay? All right, let's keep it going. Right? Please note that this quality of justice has been impinged by unlawfully carried out warrantless arrests, trial with a prejudiced judge and prosecutor, and defamation of character, as well as exposure to physical harm, emotional and social harm to us, the unlawfully accused. Ooh, bad small master. In spite of the appearance of justice, justice as defined above was not to be found by me or my family. Wow, you're just laying it out here, man. You guys are done. Like, you guys are so done, bad small masters. Maxims of Law 65E. It is the duty of a good judge to prevent litigation. What? That suit may not grow out of suit, and it concerns the welfare of a state that an end be put to litigation. That's true, right? You want to end all litigations. You don't even want it to go on, man. Hold on. Let me take a sip of the coffee, man. These are some good words. I really like these words. All right, let's keep it going. Maxims of Law 64O. It is always safer to err in acquitting than punishing, or deciding on the side of mercy than on the side of justice. Fact. Okay, here goes another maxim of law, 63S. A judge ought always to have equity before his eyes. Remember that, okay? Arizona, Article 2, Section 15 for 15, excessive bail and cruel and unusual punishment. Ooh, what are they going to say in this one? This is going to be fun. Excessive bail not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishment inflicted. All right, let's keep it going. Please note that not only, oh, I'm sorry you people had to go through this, man. I'm sorry you people have bad small masters that are just in maladministration, committing treason and committing war against you and your property. I'm so sorry. You know, I pray, I hope, you know, by God, that this is going to be fixed, man, because once the people get a hold of this, you know, we're going to have to fix all of this, man. How are we doing on time? Let's keep it going. We're good, right? You know, man, you know, God is going to hook this one up, right? Please note, not only was the entire arrest and court process excessive and unlawful, the requirements of the court in its findings, conclusions, and punishments were outside the law and the Arizona State Constitution. At the 9/21/21 hearing, the judge tried to impose excessive limitations on our rights to travel. You can't do that. Impinging on our source of employment. You can't do that. Right? She had no evidence that we were a flight risk. Neither of us have any felony record. She had no evidence that we had harassed the principal. Yeah, we were required to email the principal each time we were to be on campus. What? Why do the people have to email the principal? That just doesn't make any sense. Why does the boss have to email the servant to let the servant know that the boss is coming? I don't know. Right. These limitations were imposed before there was any proof of guilt. Right. Instead, of being presumed innocent, we were presumed guilty. You can't do that. Bail was never offered as an option. You can't do that. Man, these people, man, they need to be corrected, right? The judge, let me take another sip, man. I'm just saying, like, we have so many examples of maladministration, so many examples of treason, so many examples of just like war, being committed, on we the people, because you have people that are in public servant positions and they don't know what their duty, they don't know what their obligation is because someone is telling them the wrong words, and then they've been acting out of bounds, man. And like, this is just more proof, what we call PCAPs, of more public servants who are in maladministration, man. Whatever. This is fun reading, man. Thank you. Loki, down. The judge finally stated that we might leave Arizona for work. Okay, let's keep it going. The judge finally stated that we might leave Arizona for work purposes and child school activities only. What? Is the judge your master? I don't think so. This limitation was not further explained until later when the accusations of terrorism arose from the prosecutor. Ah, I see. That's how they tricked you, huh? Instead of correctly finding that I and my family were the unlawfully arrested victims, the court found that the principal, sitting in her office and never participating in a direct conversation with us, in a direct conversation with us, was the victim. Okay. So the public servant became the victim of the people who were the boss of the public servant. This makes no sense, man. Okay, let's keep it going. The conclusion was overreached by virtue of letters and social media from others, not from us, right? We never authorized or encouraged others to communicate with the principal. Yet I and my family were found guilty of the communication by virtue of the fact that we had been arrested unlawfully. Okay. Therefore, we were found guilty before we were lawfully tried for a crime. You can't do that, right? In an obvious attempt at a cruel and unusual punishment, the school requested we be incarcerated for 30 days. You can't do that, right? The judge said 10 days and then reduced it to 5. What? Oh my God. Which is still cruel and unusual punishment considering the lack of a crime scene and a real victim. So the public servant got the people who were the boss locked up in a cage because they felt that the people were terrorists. Uh-oh. Like, this is upside down, man. Like, we're really going to have to educate the courts too, right? So the court's requirements for letters of apology to the persons who has harmed us is cruel and unusual punishment, as well as violating our rights to free speech or our desire to not express an apology. Yeah, that's a fact. Right. Further, if we write letters of apology, we are incriminating ourselves. So the judge was trying to make them write letters of apology to the principal. Like, you better write a letter and apologize to that public servant for acting out of your jurisdiction. Psst, judge, who are you, man? So seriously, public servants, you must realize that the people are the bosses of all constitutions because we the people wrote the constitutions for you to operate in, man. It's really easy. It's really easy. So now when you're moving outside of your jurisdiction, this is definitely, you're way outside of your jurisdiction, judge. You're way outside of your jurisdiction, public servant principal, public servant judge, public servant police officer. You guys are way outside of your jurisdiction. And then there's just evidence right here. I mean, wow, these words, these words are powerful. The required letters violate our constitutional rights in Article 2, Section 10. See above, okay? Arizona, Article 2, Section 23, right? Trial by jury. Okay. I hope you guys are seeing that there's a case being built right now, right? Because you had something that happened, which was the claim, and then you're watching the whole process just be walked out. And then now we're at the point where, like, did they get a trial by jury, right? Did they get due process, right? Did they get trial by jury? Are the public servants doing what they're supposed to be doing? Every line in here is showing that the public servants were in maladministration, the public servants committed treason, the public servants committed war against one of the people they're supposed to be serving, right? Remember that, man. That's what we're seeing right now. This is witnessing, right? You know, Arizona Constitution, Article 2, Section 23, trial by jury. The right of trial by jury shall remain inviolate, right? Juries in criminal cases in which a sentence of death or imprisonment for 30 years or more is authorized by law shall consist of 12 persons. Right. In all criminal cases, the unanimous consent, right, that means they all have to consent, right, of the jurors shall be necessary to render a verdict, right? That's how we set this world up, right? In all other cases, the number of jurors not less than 6 and the number required to render a verdict shall be specified by law. Remember, and then God wrote the law. Right. Please note that at no time was a trial by jury offered as an option. More maladministration. While the city court system in Arizona does not always implement a jury, the right to a trial by jury is clearly a constitutional right. That's a fact. We were denied this right as it was never offered as an option. As in so many other places in this situation, justice was not served. Man, you've got it all listed. Right. Please note that a jury decision may have resulted in a very different verdict. Instead, the judge indicated in her closing opinion that she was making an example of us to discourage other parents from similar terrorist activities. We call that war. We call that treason. We call that maladministration, public servant. You cannot do that. You do not have that authority. You do not have that jurisdiction, man. Let me take another sip. Maxims of law, 67B. Juries are the judges of fact and law in American jurisprudence. Boom. Here we go. Maxims of law, 67H. The verdict of a jury is, as it were, the dictum of truth, even as the judgment of the court is the dictum of law. Remember that, right? Remember that. Arizona, Article 2, Section 2.4 for 24. Rights of accused in criminal prosecutions. Oh my gosh, here we go again. Right. In criminal prosecutions, the accused shall have the right to appear and defend in person and by counsel, to demand the nature and cause of the accusation against him, to have a copy thereof, to testify in his own behalf, to meet the witnesses against him face to face, right, to have compulsory process to compel the attendance of witnesses in his own behalf, to have a speedy public trial by an impartial jury of the county in which the offense is alleged to have been committed, and the right to appeal in all cases, and in no instance shall any accused person before final judgment be compelled to advance money or fees to secure the rights herein guaranteed. Okay, let's keep it going. Please note, as stated above, no trial by jury was offered. Here we go. We're going to list it out again. No trial by jury was offered. The judge did not counsel us on our options as is required. We did not have legal counsel at the first hearing with the judge, right? That itself should have been enough to cause a delay in the hearing. What? Right. Instead, no jury was offered. No counsel was given on self-incrimination. The judge and the prosecutor, public servants, annihilated justice, making us, who were the victims, the people, right, into the aggressors, and making the aggressor, public servant, the principal, public servant, into the victim. You can't do that, right? In addition, our ineffective counsel informed us that we would waive rights to witnesses. Okay, ineffective counsel. Who was your counsel? If that was a bar attorney, right, then that's another public servant, right? We can get them too for maladministration. Due to lack of effective counsel, no witness were called to defend our position, something that might have affected the verdict. That's true. Okay, here we go. Maxims of law, 25A. It is not the rigor, but the inexpediency of laws and acts of authority which make them tyrannical, right? Remember that, right? It is not the rigor, but the inexpediency, right? If you're not doing the laws, right, and you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're going to become a tyrant. That's what makes things tyrannical. So when public servants do not follow the Constitution, do not follow the contract that they signed when they took an oath, you know, to perform their duty and in their obligation and their responsibility to serve we the people, and they go against that, that makes them a tyrant, right? And then, I mean, we call that war, right? We call that treason. We call that maladministration, man. It's really easy right now, right? You know, so here we go. Maxims of law, 66B. It is the part of a good judge to enlarge or use liberally his remedial authority or jurisdiction. Remember that, right? Public servant, you know, you got to read the law, right? You got to judge the law to the law, right? Constitution, supreme law of the land, man. Remember that, right? Arizona Constitution, Article 2, Section 30 for 30. Indictment or information, preliminary examination. No person shall be prosecuted criminally in any court of record or for felony or misdemeanor otherwise than by information or indictment. No person shall be prosecuted for felony by information without having had a preliminary examination before a magistrate or having waived such preliminary examination. We're getting ready to see some more evidence, right? Please note that during the preliminary examination where we plead not guilty to charges, there was no mention of trial by jury. The magistrate did not offer any counsel. Maladministration, treason, war, once again, right? Bad small masters all over the place. Please note that no agent, official, judge, or employee may violate their binding oaths of office. You can't do that, man. Arizona Constitution, Article 2, Section 7, oaths and affirmation. Remember this, right? The mode of administering an oath or affirmation shall be such as shall be most consistent with and binding upon the conscience of the person to whom such oath or affirmation may be administered. Remember that, public servant, right? You know, when you take an oath and an affirmation to, you know, do the job, right, under the laws of the constitutions of whatever states that you're in the United States, you better do that. If you don't, we're going to get you for maladministration. We're going to get you for treason. We're going to get you for war. We're going to get you for deprivation of rights under the color of law, man. Every time. It's so easy, right? Let's keep it going. Well, after I take my sip. All right, here we go. Let's keep reading these powerful words, right? Cooper v. Aaron, 358 U.S. 178 S. CT 14011958. Supreme Court decision, right? No state legislature or executive or judicial officer can war against the Constitution without violating his solemn oath to support it. You can't do that. Right? You cannot confuse. You cannot cause confusion, and you cannot mix up our constitutions, man. All right, let's keep it going. Right? Please note that we have been experienced multiple instances of violation of various constitutional provisions. Yes, you have. Right? All violations of the Constitution, the United States or that of Arizona, nullify any ruling that follows the violation. Done. It's void, right? The following cases clarify any contention to the opposite conclusion. Oh, so let's see some examples. Norton v. Shelby County, 118 U.S. 425 1886. Supreme Court decision. Here we go. An unconstitutional act is not law. It confers no rights. It confers no rights. It imposes no duties, affords no protection. It creates no office. Remember that, right? It is in legal contemplation as inoperative as though it had never been passed, man. So if something's unconstitutional, that means it's a no-go. That means it's a no-show. That means don't do it, don't touch. No, public servant. Remember that, right? Here goes another one. Marbury versus Madison, 2, branch 137. 180-1803. Supreme Court decision. All laws, rules, and practices which are repugnant to the Constitution are null and void. Remember that, right? You know, so there's all these cases that are showing you what's up. Here goes another one, right? Miranda v. Arizona, 384 U.S. 461966. Supreme Court decision. Where rights secured by the Constitution are involved, there can be no rulemaking or legislation which would abrogate them. Remember that, okay? All right, please note, though not every provision in the Arizona Constitution has been specifically addressed, rights reserved to the people are not limited to those enumerated in the Constitution. We got rights that you guys can't even touch, man. You don't even know about them. We have so many, right? Because God gave man, woman, child, the people dominion over this whole realm. So we're in charge of everything. Remember that, public servant. You're not the boss of the people are the boss of you. And if you've sworn an oath and a duty to any constitution, you better follow that, or we're going to get you for maladministration. We're going to get you for treason. We're going to get you for war. We're going to get you for deprivation of rights under the color of law. Every time, man. Scary simple, right? Let's keep it going. Arizona Constitution, Article 2, Section 3.3, Reservation of Rights. The enumeration in this Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny others retained by the people. All right, let's keep it going. Please note that in consideration of lack of a warrant at arrest, lack of lawsuit arrest, or lack of lawful arrest, right? Lack of effective counsel, lack of informed consent to waive trial by jury, lack of proper conduct by the judge and the prosecuting attorney, all parts and findings of the ensuing trial must be found null and void of proper foundation for a verdict. Whoop. No go, no show. I agree, right? Please note that those in position of trust are to be truthful, honest, and diligent in the position of trust, right? Maxims of Law 101B. He who does not freely speak the truth is a betrayer of the truth. Gotta say the truth, man. Remember that. Maxims of Law 101E. Suppression of the truth is equivalent to the expression or suggestion of what is false. That's a fact too, man. All right, let's keep it going. I love maxims. They're great, right? Please note that all agents involved in the aforementioned case have acted untruthfully and in maladministration. Bad, small master. You have failed to comply with what the Constitution and the state statutes require. That's a fact. You are now held accountable and complicit to all that has transpired from the outset of this situation. Maxim of Law 101G. Truth fears nothing but concealment. Right. Please note that should you wish to respond to any of the above mentioned allegations, complaints, or assertions, you must do so by affidavit listing point by point what you are contesting. Your response must be received within 5 days with an affidavit addressing point by point what you are contesting and indicating how you did not commit maladministration and violations of your sworn oath of office. Do it. You must respond to each point by point, and if you do not, you are acquiescing, you're remaining quiet, that you have committed the maladministration indicated herein, right? I come to you in the peace of Christ, praying that you will choose the righteous action, man, right? That's it, man. And then put your full name down, and then put your autograph down, and then you got the date, and then make sure you put your email down, and then you hit that submit button, right? You know, remember, this is going to these public servants right here. It's going to go to the Deputy County Administrator, Francisco Garcia. It's going to go to the Pima County Sheriff, Chris Nanos. It's going to go to the Public Health Director, Teresa Cullen. It's going to go to the Swahita Chief of Police, John Nolan. It's going to go to current Walden Groves High School Principal, Kristen Miller. It's going to go to Swahita Police Officer, Rosalie Petty. It's going to go to the current Vice Principal, Creston Elkert. And it's going to go to Swahita Town Prosecutor, Rana Creamer, right? It's going to go to SUP Swahita Unified District, Manuel Valenzuela, right? It's going to go to Swahita Municipal Town Judge, Maria Alvarez. Oh my gosh, she's just getting them all. It's going to go to Assistant Superintendent, Brett Boner. It's going to go to Attorney General, Mark Bronovich, right? It's going to go to Assistant Superintendent Scott Downs, and it's going to go to Swahita Unified School Board Member Denise Reyes, right? And it's going to go to Swahita Unified School Board Member John Sparks, Swahita Unified School Board Member Kevin Opalka, right? Swahita Unified School Board Member Shari Lowell, right, all of them, right, and Swahita Unified School Board member Nicole Werner, right. That's it. That was such a beautiful notice, man. Right, that was a complete notice. I mean, it painted the whole picture of how the public servants went outside of their boundaries, outside of their jurisdiction, right? You know, they just did not do what their job was, right? Notice of maladministration and violation of rights, right? They violated the people's rights all up and down, you know, in the school, man, in the school. And then so what we're finding out now since we woke up is that a lot of our public servants are acting as if they're the boss of the people, right? And then a lot of people have been acting that way for a very long time because they didn't know any better, because they weren't taught in public school on who was the boss, right? You know, so now that we the people know that we're the boss, right? You know, because we're waking up, and then we're going to wake up other people, right? Because we're just going to show them the Constitution, and we're going to keep it scary simple, right? Because we're always going to show them what the hierarchy of the realm is, man, right? Remember this, right? You know, this is when we do our time out, because the order of the realm always goes like this. God created the world, check. God created man, aka the people, check. People created states, check. People created constitutions, check. People created governments, check. Question: when did government become boss of the people? And then the answer is never, ever, ever, ever. The people are always the bosses of all the governments, right? Because we the people wrote the Constitution, because God gave we the people dominion over everything, right? It says so in the Bible, and then the Bible is law, right? The Bible is God's law. And then now we're just going to show all of our public servants what's up, right? You know, because like I got this from a man at Ephesians. He sent me this dope thing today, right? And then you know how you got a bunch of attorneys who say, we practice law, I'm a practicing attorney. And it's like, what the people do is that we protect, right? We protect the law, right? We protect the people, right? And when that means to protect means to cover, and then that means we're the guardians, right? We're the shepherds of law, man. Remember that, right? You know, so when a public servant always tries to say, are you an attorney or are you practicing law? We don't practice, man. We just protect. That's all we do. We guard and we protect, man. We're the wards. All right. Well, you know, that's it, man. You know, I just had fun reading those because I wanted to put those tracks down so I can see, you know, like, this is just a perfect example of maladministration from the top down, you know, starting from the school. Something as simple as a school principal just committing maladministration, man, right? And this just happens over and over and over in every entity that we the people have created, right? You know, we got a bunch of people who are just maladministrators now. So that's it. Now you know what's up with maladministration. You know what's up with treason, right? You know what's up with war, and you know this is how they deprive the people of their rights under the color of law, which is no good, which means that we can now go to take them and we can get them in the court, right? And we can bind them, right? You know, get that money, man. All right, that's it. You know, I'm gonna go finish the coffee, have some fun, right? You know, upload this and then see what's up. I'll talk to you guys in the future. Remember, nobody's having more fun than us. Bye.